Welp, here we sit, a little over 3 months after Starfield was supposed to be released initially. The game is supposed to be released sometime in the first half of 2023, but we have yet to receive any official information regarding the actual date. Microsoft and Bethesda promised a Starfield exclusive showcase soon, but it is already seeming to take longer than expected. There are many rumors that Starfield will once again be delayed, and if I'm being honest, that would not shock me. This is all besides the point of the video, however. Today, I present to you 5 things we need in Starfield. While this list is in no particular order, I would say that this first point is my most important point. It may not be yours, but it is mine. Personally, I need to see a story where the player tells the tale. Bethesda usually differs on this between its Fallout and Elder Scrolls franchises. Fallout tends to lean in the direction of the more diverse choices when it comes to the main stories. This can especially be seen in Fallout New Vegas, although it was made mostly by Obsidian, but Fallout 4 also provides 4 factions to finish the story with. Elder Scrolls, on the other hand, tends to streamline the main story. Usually they lack choices that have an everlasting effect on the game. This does make sense though, because the Elder Scrolls universe is one filled with fated heroes and not mysterious strangers. With Starfield being a new IP, we cannot be sure the path Bethesda will take with its main story. God Howard himself has dubbed it Skyrim in space, yet it seems like they have faction choices similar to Fallout 4. Whether or not these factions determine the outcome of the main quest is yet to be seen. To me, it is crucial for a main questline to have extreme levels of player decisions, for replayability's sake. In a game that has hundreds of hours worth of side adventuring, you can get away with having a mainstream questline, but that doesn't mean a multifaceted one isn't better. The perfect game will have an inherently good method, an inherently evil method, and a few that fall in between, and I think that's what this game needs. We do not know truly what the main story will be, however, so that may or may not be possible. In the end, I just want more choices that have a true impact on the world or worlds around my character. Next up is cities. For me, there needs to be large, expansive, and thoroughly fleshed out cities, especially in a AAA game in 2023. One of Skyrim's largest downfalls for me was the cities of the province. Only 5 could be considered real cities, with the other 4 being literal unwalled villages. Whiterun has the most NPCs with 74, while the capital of Skyrim Solitude has 62 inhabitants. Compare this to the city of Novigrad in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which has somewhere between 350 and 500 residents. Of course, most of them are just named Peasant, Guard, or Strumpet, but it still makes the city feel more alive and it allows the devs to build a larger city. Now obviously I don't expect a realistic sized city, as that is just unrealistic. While there is supposed to be a ridiculous 1,000 planets in the game, if memory serves me right, there will only be 4 fully fleshed out main hubs, such as New Atlantis and Neon. These cities in the limited views we have seemed quite large, but we will see when the game releases. Third on this list without order is a request I have for every open world RPG: compelling companions. We previously had this discussion when contemplating the Elder Scrolls 6, so I may keep it short here, but only the script can know. Starfield companions have already been reported to be more advanced and fleshed out than their counterparts in previous Bethesda games. There was a small trailer, or teaser, or whatever you want to call it, that detailed one of the companions one may get throughout their journey. His name is Vasco. Vasco is a handsome young man made completely out of metal and circuitry. Yeah, he's a robot. From the video about our dear old Tabasco, it seems he is an ox at heart, since he is best served carrying your junk. The only other somewhat confirmed companion comes from a trait in the game dubbed Hero Worshipped. This trait will anoint the player character with an adoring fan, which is a direct reference to the annoying little blonde boy from Oblivion. As for the depth of character these followers will have, we don't know very much. As always, companions will assist in combat, but apparently they will also be able to aid in dialogue. What does this mean, however? Will companions help you talk your way past certain people because they are familiar with each other, or will they just be able to do the persuading for you if their skill is higher? This is something we do not truly know until we play the game. My biggest hope is that there are fewer companions in the game, which may sound counterintuitive. When there are less companions, however, you can expect them to be more unique and compelling. Every companion should be able to build an emotional connection with the character. You should truly care for your companion, or at least like them enough not to use them as a meat shield. Factions. Factions are extremely crucial for the success of an open world RPG game. A game like Starfield, that should be the most expansive game that Bethesda has ever made, should have a plethora of factions, guilds, and groups that both intertwine and keep their distance from each other in the main story. I would like Bethesda to find a healthy middle ground between Elder Scrolls and Fallout factions. Traditionally in Fallout, the factions directly impact the main story, while those in the Elder Scrolls mainly stay away from the story. Take Fallout 4 for example. There are 4 fleshed out factions, and you must choose one to complete the main game with, but there are no others that are intertwined within the story. This causes a game to feel as though it lacks side content when it may actually have plenty of side quests. Creating actual quest lines to complete outside of the story leads to a more expansive experience. Skyrim, on the other hand, has guilds that have nearly nothing to do with the main story, and this makes the open world feel more filled out. This can detract from the main story, however, making it feel quite shallow, as Skyrim's does. Imagine if the Blades in Skyrim were a full-fledged faction, and that the Dragonborn had to rebuild them to assist against Alduin and his dragon armies. That would have led to a much more deep and interesting main story, while leaving plenty of side content to consume away from the main questline. To me, a good main story should have direct and indirect diversions from it, with the direct being intertwined factions and the indirect being unaffiliated guilds. This leads to a more expansive story that one can solely focus on without feeling as though they did not do enough to finish the game. It also builds a world where the player can totally avoid the story and feel fulfilled with their character's accomplishments. Lastly on this list comes unique weapons and armor mixed in with a good combat system. Starfield, being set over 100 years in the future with a sci-fi setting, perfectly prepares the game to provide us with a plethora of unique weapons and armor. Something that has been lacking in nearly every Bethesda game has been unique items and equipment. Skyrim and Fallout 4 had many quote-unquote unique weapons and armor sets. These actually happen to only be unique in name for the most part. Rarely did they ever have a unique design or a new effect, and that is something we need in all Bethesda games. These are what drive people to complete quests and to explore. Rewarding the player with money can only do so much to inspire them, because by the time they reach the mid to end game, the player usually has more money than they know what to do with. Obviously the game needs a good combat system to go with these new unique items. From the videos we have seen, the system seems almost identical to Fallout 4, which isn't the worst thing that could happen, but it's not the best either. Fallout 4 definitely has the best gunplay out of any Fallout game, and it is a better system than Skyrim, but it still is slow and clumsy, and it seems that it is what we'll be stuck with. This is disappointing, but maybe when the game is a finished product, this won't be the case. There it is, the 5 things I believe we need to see for Starfield to be a great game. While it was not directly stated in the video, obviously I want a well-optimized game that will have limited bugs and glitches at launch. They delayed the game by 6 months at least, so it should be expected, but it is Bethesda we are talking about, and they have their tendencies. In the end, we will never know what we're truly going to get until it arrives, so we just need to hang on and wait it out. If you have any ideas or things you would want to see in Starfield, just let me know down below and make sure to leave a like and subscribe.